How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite swim bait podcast, Scales and Tails, episode 149 today. We're joined by another gentleman from Massachusetts. Massachusetts is just so fun to talk about. I cannot escape Mass. So we're joined by Mr. Josh Scaife, who I said Massachusetts guy who's been doing this for a while, and I think we're gonna have some pretty cool stories to talk about. So, Josh, I guess kind of introduce us to who you are, and then we'll get into how you got into fishing, and we'll talk swim baits the next hour, man.
Well, like you said, my name's Josh Scaife. I started fishing with for trout years ago. I was probably I'd say about 12, 13 years old. Never cared for the taste. It was always like I always let them go. Most of the time they'd end up dying. And I have my uncle who's since passed, and he actually showed me how to you remember the Red Devil little spoons?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he put me onto one of them, and I was in a local spot and at Hamden Pond, and I cast it out, and I caught a bass, and that's the first bass I've ever caught, and I seen how easy it was to unhook and for it to just swim right back, and like immediately after that, that was like, all right, this is what I want to fish for. This is what I'm going to start using. And then it just kind of opened up from there. When used Gary Yamamoto's and all that for years. Did a little bit of tournament fishing here and there. I mean, did a lot of. I mean, when it comes to swim baits, you have to start with, like, I'm teaching my son, my 8-year-old now. Like, you have to start with the basics. You can't just jump into to swim baits. I
Yeah.
mean, there's still, you got to find patterns and all that. I mean, a lot of people don't. They just try to throw swim baits right away. But I mean, I used conventional gear for years. I mean, I won a couple tournaments, got lucky, and I mean, it was kind of crazy because back then it was like the swim bait community was really frowned upon.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've been doing the shows, like the fishing shows since, I don't know, 2013, 2012, and you can just see the wave come in. And I mean, my first swim bait that I started throwing was, I mean, I got in touch with Bill Stentinel from Spro,
Yep.
through the BBZ for years, and it's kind of messed up. But I mean, I was using swim baits and saying I caught them on worms, and then you got these guys these days catching them on jigs or whatever,
Yeah.
and catching them
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
swim
Yeah.
baits.
Yeah.
So I mean, it I just broke off from all the crap, and it just, you know what I mean? I just didn't want to deal with the drama and all that. I just want to start doing it on my own, you know what I mean? Doing my own thing for myself, and just kind of, went from there. I mean, I've in the industry, I've met some amazing people. I mean, never mind the people at the show, they're like a whole nother family. Like, I bring my son out there with me and everything, and the New Hampshire show is really the only one I can bring him to because I don't really have to work with Joey and stuff. But
Right.
other than that, man, it's just my uncle's the main one that got me into it. And once I hooked that first bass, it was it. I mean, and I've always just fished from. I mean, even after I stopped tournament fishing, I never weighed the fish, and I can't imagine like the weight on some of the fish that I was using catching on the worm. I mean, on the rat and the freaking Jackal Gantrell Jr.
Oh, dude.
That thing right there, man. Like, I mean, I just that 180 that it does is just like pretty much like posturing up at another fish, like, dare me, you know what I mean? And I've gotten some good fish off of there, and I mean, it just went from there, man. And I just decided, like, I'm not saying like being cocky is too easy to catch with conventional gear or rubber worms and all that. It's just I wanted to challenge myself differently, you know what I mean, and start
Yeah.
doing it, my own thing, you know what I mean? Like, just being on the water is peaceful enough. Like right here now, I mean, I can sit down here all
Yeah.
day and just hang out. That's it.
That's so awesome, dude. Yeah, it's interesting to see guys get into fishing, and then 6 months after getting into fishing, they say they're getting into swim baits, or they post, "Hey, I'm getting into whatever. What kind of reel do I need? What kind of rod do I need? Can I use a spinning rod or whatever it may be?" And it's like, wow, like it's, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's gotten so big now and so popular and stuff that the door to entry is a lot bigger than it used to be back then. It was just a handful of guys that made baits, whatever it may be now. A lot of guys make baits. All the big companies make baits now. You can go to Dick's and buy a swim bait, and that wasn't a thing back then. And it's just kind of opened the door for so many more people than it once did before.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I never, I mean, like I said, doing the shows, and I mean, seeing the people with the dedication of waiting outside in the snow I mean, to get baits. And I mean, hats off to them. I mean, whether they keep them or, do what they want, you're going to stand out in the line for that damn long, then, much respect. That's like a damn job right there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I mean, that like Joey, I mean, obviously Mr. Psycho Lanciati. I mean, I bumped into him a few years back, and he knew I was fishing I was fishing with Spro. Actually, Bill did a write up on me
Yeah.
on in Spro mag when he was working for Spro, and Joey reached out to me, and he was like, "Dude, I'm coming out with a bait," and he sent me a video, and I thought the bait was like swimming through the water, and he's like, "No, man," he's like, "I'm sitting here and it's dead still." I'm like, "Dude, I'll throw that thing."
Yeah.
He's like, "Really?" He's like, "If you do," is like, like I did it, and I threw it for a full season. I'd go out with just my all white Psycho Gill and just throw that all night. And I mean, the numbers, whether it be big fish or small fish, was just insane. Like, I mean, and I had to go for the longest time without even telling anybody. Like, like I mean, I didn't want to,
Yeah.
because he would have got flood. And Joey's the most humble fucking kid. Like, and he's always been the same. You know what I mean? He's never changed. And he was like, "Well, just don't tell too many people." And I just started catching up. I mean, I think the first season I threw it, I caught like four that were over six. Think I caught a seven and numerous 5 pounders.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, I was floored. I mean, like I said, I went out with my Corrado 300 and my Dobbins, and that was it. I don't use heavy pound braid. Like I use 30-pound test
Mhm.
Power Pro. That's all I use. I mean, 20 on my smaller reels.
Yeah.
I don't go much higher than that.
Heck yeah, dude. So, what was your intro to the Spro rat? Like, how did you find that? Like, being in Massachusetts, I'm sure swim baits weren't hugely popular, 10 years ago. And I mean, the Spro rat, it was kind of that first production bait, but I can't imagine that there was Dick's or Dunham's or Bass Pro or stuff carrying them, yet you had to order them or whatnot. So, how did that start for you?
I actually had a friend from California
Uh,
that had sent me over. I believe it was what was it? It was the Chrome one.
oh, yep.
The first one I had was
Yeah.
Chrome, and then I lost. Of course, I lost it like 3 days, and then I ended up when I found out the name of it, I'll just go on the line and order them, and then I just started throwing the 50 morning dawn. That was like my confidence bait. You know what I mean? I throw down that thing down the middle of any lake or whatever. That I slam them at nighttime, especially at nighttime. And I mean, that bait just produces. I mean, I always recommend that, or for especially for if you're first starting off. That's I've gotten last year. I just had a kid, and he wanted me to show him, a little bit about swim baits and stuff like that. So I started taking him out, and he was like, "Wow, you can fish nighttime?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's the only time I really got." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I take him out. I took him out at nighttime. I mean, and he's throwing big baits. And I'm like, dude, listen, like, you got to crawl before you walk, not to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like and I tossed him the 40 BBZ 40, threw him around. I'm like, throw this. Within 3 casts. Before that, his personal best was, I think it was around 3-1. He got a 4-1 that night, and then he ended up pulling that weekend. He broke his personal best 2 more times, biggest being 5'9".
Damn. And he
And
was like,
after
"Damn, I was fishing these big glide baits and I wasn't catching this. And I tie on this 40 size rat and I'm hammering them now."
right, well, that's the whole thing, is that he didn't. I mean, he started off just throwing big baits. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just thinking you're gonna go out there and
Get the
cast,
one or
and
yeah.
right, and then keep switching and switching and switching and switching. It's like you got to keep I mean, I can throw it at the same spot 30 times, and on that 31st time, you can get
Mhm.
that fucking blow up, and that's
Yeah.
it. Like, it's boom. You never know what's coming through. I mean, it depends on where you're fishing as well.
Right. So when you started fishing that Spro and you started having success, was that the point in time where you're like, okay, I need to keep this to myself. I don't want anybody else to know about this just yet. I'm gonna kind of play it off, or do you not really care?
No, not at all. I ran up. It's still running a page on Facebook. I think it's up around, I don't know, like 4 or 5 thousand people. Everything topwater. Will Pellerin, which he lived a couple streets over from me.
Hmm.
He got the Bowfin
Yeah.
record last
Yep.
year with Joey. Yeah, he lives a couple streets over from me, and he started a page, Everything Topwater, and I put it right out there right away. I mean, I don't hide stuff from people. I mean, it's just, I mean, where I am, I'm in the city. I live in Springfield.
Mhm.
It's very tight. Like, I mean, if I take my son to a local pond, it's like I spend more time, I mean, telling people, more stuff about what I'm doing and than actually fishing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But
Hey,
at the same time, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it for him. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Helping him out. If he wants to fish, then so be it.
Right, exactly. Have you noticed, since you had gotten like that Spro and stuff, I mean, have you noticed an intake of other guys fishing swim baits and stuff around your area?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. Um, I know for a fact because I mean, I see them hanging out of damn trees sometimes. You know what I mean? But they're not using the right gear. They don't understand. Like, you know, you throwing a 50 with a big. They think they can go to Walmart and get a big Shakespeare bait spinning reel,
Yeah.
and that's gonna work. And I'm like, no, man, there's way more to it than that. But yeah, no, I've never hid it from nobody. I mean, the only time I really did, like I said, is when I was fishing for a local company and I was using soft plastics, and it was like, and then tell them, oh yeah, I caught it on, you know what I mean, this worm or
Yeah.
whatever, but I'm using a damn rat.
Oh, that's funny, man. So I guess when you're fishing at night and stuff, or like when you had first started, we always hear from mass guys about the crawdads or kayaks or whatever it may be, like getting off the bank and like even fishing on the bank and having success at that night bite. Were you fishing primarily off the bank, or do you have like a kayak that you were fishing off of quite a bit?
I started fishing off the bank, and then it just got to the point where I was like, I want to be on the water, you know what I mean? And I got a kayak, and it was just from there, it took off. I mean, I love to be my whole thing is just being on the water. I don't have to. I don't have to be seen unless I want to be seen. You can
Mhm.
turn on that headlight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's calming. I mean, it's fishing. I try to tell everybody it takes so long. Everybody's like, "Oh, I wish I can keep them." Keep going, bro. You know what I mean? Keep throwing. Keep chucking. Once you give up, I mean, even my son the other day, we were over at one of the local parks, and he's like, "Dad, there's people jumping in the water." He's like, I don't think I'm gonna catch anything. Not even the second cat. I'm like, Junior, go around the corner. Not even, I'd say 3.5, 4 minutes later, he ends up pulling in a 3.5 pound bass.
Yeah.
And everybody went right to that spot afterward and started fishing. He's like, yeah, I outfished them all day. I mean, and I mean, the kayak was my way of getting out. I mean, I did night tournaments at Congamount for a while, like it pretty much evening, like right into
Okay.
dark. It was pretty much like a big fish tournament on
Yeah.
Thursday nights. I did that for a little bit, and then when I had my son, it's like the only time I had was at night, and I had a lot of success at night. And then of course, people, saying, "Oh, the only time you catch fish is at night." Get the fuck out of here! So start doing the day thing, and then people were like, "Oh shit, okay." I really don't have nothing to prove to nobody. I'd
Right.
rather teach. I'd rather teach and show people what I know because I
Mhm.
still don't know everything.
Yeah.
There's no way. As soon as you think you know everything, you're fucked.
Hmm.
You're done. I mean, I'm always open to learning. I'm teaching other people. I mean, I've people tell me that I come off, kind of, I don't know, the way I look is like intimidating and all. It's like all you have to do is have a conversation with me. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's it. I mean, what I've been through and everything like that is just, it's called the resting bitch face. If you can't deal with it, then carry on.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
No, but when Bass Bandits, when Shy reached out to me and I seen you when we're down the universe at the gathering, I seen you, and man, I'll tell you what, we were driving. I did not know I was in that issue until we were driving back in the RV,
uh,
and they're like, "Look at this ugly mug in here." I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, what the? I had no idea. I had no clue. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, that's humbling right there, because I can show my son that, not only for me. You know what I mean? It's for my kid. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
That's awesome, man. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, the night thing. The night thing is like so popular out there, and I mean, it's starting to kind of catch on across the other parts of the country. But I mean, the night thing in Massachusetts, and then the early spring thing at night too is crazy. Is that something that you were doing a while ago? Is fishing like right after ice out, maybe with the Spro or with other baits and having like success on top water like that?
I that's the thing is it's so nuts, because I'm telling you, people tell me you're crazy. You fish
Mhm.
at nighttime.
Yeah,
You're out there at nighttime on your. But I've been doing it for, I mean, probably since 2012, 2013. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, I love, and like you said, like, yeah, now everybody that you see,
yeah,
like, there's big. What I to me, it was like less pressure. There ain't a lot of boats zipping around places. There's not a lot of shit going on the water. You know what I mean? It's just, and they seem to come up and, they hide pretty much during the day. More to, I'm more of a top water fisherman than anything, or
yeah,
subsurface. I mean, I don't throw a lot of, like, deep cranks, or deep burritos and all that. I stick to what I know. I mean, there's a lot of hype and all that around baits. I mean, I use that lightly, because I mean it works for some,
right, yeah,
not it's confidence, man. You know what I mean? I don't put nobody's baits down what they do. I don't put anybody, if they want to fish a certain bait and it works for them, that's outstanding. I mean,
mhm.
that's what it should be about. But I mean, it has kind of turned into, I don't want to say kind of a cult lately, but I mean, it's it's pretty bizarre. And I see some of your images and stuff on Instagram, and it's like, yes, like, that's what I've been wanting to say for years.
Man, yeah, it's funny. That yeah, so you had mentioned like the top water being like your go-to. Like, man, I don't know what it is, but I would say 90-95% of the mass guys, whether, that whole New England area, you guys live and die by the wake bait. And I mean, it's crazy the success you guys have. And I'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, yeah, glide baits do work, but for whatever reason, the wake baits, you guys just slaughter them on the wake baits. And that's just so crazy. Here in Michigan, like with my experiences, we'll catch them on top, and yeah, they'll be good fish. A couple threes, couple fours, but I really haven't heard of anybody catching a handful of like super good fish on top. Like our fish just react to a glide bait, whereas your guys' fish just seem to be locked on that wake bait for whatever reason, almost throughout the whole year. I mean, there's guys out there when it's snowing and when the snow's melting, and you guys are hammering them on wake baits, and that's just so crazy to see compared to what we have here.
Yeah, I mean, shit, like you said, from ice out until, I think, well, in 2022, August 2022 is when I got the gold pin on Joey's the Psycho Trout. It was a prototype,
Okay.
and I was out there, and I'm out there with my retired neighbor that lives across the street, and it was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, let's start. He's like, whenever you're ready. I'm like, all right. And I always got this thing. I take 3 casts before I leave, and I'm probably on my second cast, and then boom, this thing just hit, and I'm pulling it in. I get my light on, I net it, and I'm shaking like a motherfucker, and I get it over to the bank, and I pull it up out of the net, and I all my adrenaline and everything went out of me when his face lit up and was like, that is the biggest bass I've actually ever
That's
anybody's.
so cool, man.
And like, he just started sweating and stuff when, like, shaking. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I'm like, Matt, are you okay? And he's like, dude, he's like, that is so awesome. Like, and he's retired. He's
Yep.
been fishing his whole, and he's like that. He's like, I never. I mean, he was one of the first ones to see me catch a big fish on one of Joey's
Yep.
baits, but that one right there, I mean, it was 9'3", 24 3/4 inches. I mean,
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
yeah.
That's crazy. So fishing at night, I mean, obviously it sounds like you know your waters really, really well. are you do you kind of like know where you are on the lake? Like you'll turn your headlamp on, kind of see where you are and kind of plan your casts out, or you just bombing casts out?
No, I mean, I have. I'm not fucking Spider-Man, but I go by intuition. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I don't overthink it. I don't like using my light all the time, unless I mean, if I'm switching a bait,
Yeah.
if I'm netting a fish, maybe I'll turn it on. But I always my eyes adjust a lot
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
at nighttime. I mean, and especially when I'm out in the boonies and shit. Like, I mean, it's way easier to adjust because you're not looking at a street light and then having to
Yeah.
look at the water.
And especially if
But
the moon's out, it's bright sometimes out there. Even if it's
right,
not a full
right.
moon, even if it's like a crescent moon, I mean it's bright. There's a light source out there.
Yeah, I've always, I mean, I've shit since for years. I've always, that's my nighttime has always been, you know, what I mean, my thing. Like, I've always liked to be out at night. Like, I've
Mhm.
always been able, we used to have, you know, things back in the day when running around the damn woods when no had nothing, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? You hear one kid run into a damn tree and aha, and fucking you trip over a stump, you know, it's
Yeah.
the sun. And then, I mean, I'd rather not turn on the light because it takes too long. If I do, I usually use the red or the green light. You know
Yep.
what I mean? I don't use the white. But no, when I'm on the water, it's usually like I try to hit the edges and everything beforehand and just start feeling it out. I'll throw maybe 10, 20 times, you know, say slow rolling it, and then 10, 20 times more, another time, you know, dead twitching it, 10, 20, you know, cranking it,
Yep.
you know, and keep going through, you know, until you find which way they want it. I mean, so, and then once you find the pattern and that how they want to hit it, it's just, you just got to find the right presentation and then they're going to slam it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I've showed, I mean, I've many kids, like I said, I've few kids around here now that weren't really confident in fishing. They went out, bought all their own kayaks now. They had trolling motors on. I mean, like better than I got now. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
like, no, man, it's all thanks to you. And I'm listen, you ain't gotta thank me, man. I just showed you, you know, I mean, there's more to life than dealing with bullshit. You can be out fishing and having fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man, exactly. When you bomb a cast out there, you figure out the retriever, you're messing with the retriever and you get a bite. Are you kind of reeling, like you hear sploosh? I mean, are you setting the hook? Or are you kind of reeling down to feel if they still have it, or kind of how do you, I guess, process a bite once it happens at night?
If there's any kind of splash or any kind of like I feel anything, I'm setting the fucking hook.
Okay.
That yeah, I mean, I don't not to like let them take it because I did that a couple times and it's like they weren't hooked right. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I set the hook every single time I pull on it. I don't just let them take it or check if it's there. I mean, because if they don't taste the hooks, you throw it back in the same spot. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done it where it's blown up on the bait, and I went to set it and I caught it,
Mhm.
and then three or four casts later, throw it back out there, and then boom,
Yeah.
catch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Especially at night. I mean, it's a crapshoot. I mean, if you have the chance at a bite, you need to take it. And like you said, if they're not hooked, you can cast back in there 10 minutes later, and they'll probably eat it again.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a kid that I fished with years ago. He moved down to Florida. Kurt Scooter is. He was casting. He was using the white BBZ rat, and he was with me, and he's casting. He had a big fish blow up on it, and he like put his head down, and he was all pissed off. I'm like, dude, pull it in and throw it back up in the same
Mhm.
spot. He threw it right back in the same spot. Ended up pulling a 5 pounder. He was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Dude, didn't taste the hooks. It thought it missed its food. Like
Yeah,
the hell."
man, that's awesome.
It's pretty much movement on the top of the water. I mean, a lot of people go by colors and like match the hatch and all that shit. But I mean, to me, it's just it's movement. I mean, I mean, all white baits I've caught on. I've caught on all black. I mean, it doesn't color don't really matter when that catches the fisherman more than the fish. I'd say that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Is there anything that you did or like even that you do to like your spro or to your rats? Like if you, I know some guys will pull that tail out and they'll put like a rubber worm tail in or anything else. Is there anything that you used to do to mess with those baits? You just fish it right out of the package.
No, what sucks is because Bill had left. I mean, that was his patent on the
Yeah.
tail. I like
Yep.
the original tails, man. And when he left Spro, it was like you can't find them tails no more. And the tails you get now, there's if I lost the tail, yeah, I'd replace and then didn't have no more, I'd
Right.
replace it with a rubber worm, but it kind of gets hung up on there more than
Right. Yeah.
the ones he had. And it's kind of a shame, but I mean, yeah, I'd replace it with a rubber worm if I didn't have any more, but there was nothing like the tails that he had on him before. But now I mean, if I'll use them without a tail because I get short strikes sometimes. They'll nip the tail, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I started throwing them with no tails, and they'll still hit them. I mean, my son was throwing it with no tail one day, and he ended up catching like a 3 pounder on it and
Right.
pumped, you know.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it might matter to one or two fish, but majority of the fish, they see that commotion up on top, and if they want to hit it, they're not gonna be like, oh, well, this looks like a rat bait and it doesn't have a tail. I don't know if I'm gonna eat it. No, they're gonna come up and smash it whether there's a tail or not on it. It's just more or less a confidence thing.
Well, and also there's the clack. So
Yeah.
the clack in the bait. So what I used to do, I mean, I've told people this before, and they said some says it do work, some says I don't get no reply, but because it probably did. But I used to take a piece of electrical tape and put it between the joint on
Mhm.
one side, so it only made one clack.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that would change the sound of that and everything of the bait,
Hmm.
and I'd get slammed off it just from that because it's not the plastic in the plastic,
Yeah.
it's the plastic hitting the tape, hitting the plastic, and changes up the sound of it sometimes. You know what I mean? Fish.
Hmm.
I mean, I've done all kinds of different things with baits to just to test it out for myself. Like for years, I've fished. I mean, swim baits for years, and I just after I got out of the tournaments, I caught a couple guys cheating when I was fishing tournaments, and it was just like, you know what, this not me for no more, and I'm done with it. You know, I'm not gonna keep going through all that, and
Yeah.
just started doing it for myself, and just it's worked out for the better. I mean,
Hmm.
I've met a lot in the industry. I've met a lot of freaking awesome people. You know what I mean? Like unbelievably humble people. Like I mean, for instance, I mean Joey. I mean everybody that I met, I've never really had an issue with. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
They've always, I mean, always been cordial and everything. And if not, you know, what I mean, carry on. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody's got their opinions, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Um, so that Spro tail, that one that you're talking about, that probably
Yeah,
had a clack to it too. Because for anybody who's not familiar, it was those small, like not
section.
plastic beads, but it was like a plastic bead, like a plastic
A cylinder.
cylinder.
They're like
Yeah, yeah.
cylinder. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
cylinder.
that would clack too, right?
Yes, yes, it had a clack to it too. Because I'd hold it in my hand and you'd be wiggle back and forth, and
Hmm.
that had a little. It was almost like a teaser on the
Right.
end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it made the clacks with the. That's why I'm saying like when they got rid of that tail, it was like, oh man, like that sucks. Like I tried to get as many as I could, and I think I got bags of them. I just got to find them.
Have you tried the Fish Lab version at all?
Is that the plopper one?
Yeah, that's the one that
Yeah,
took the, or he brought the BBZ name with it now, and that's the new BBZ rat.
yeah. When he went with fish, yeah, I did. I'm not. I don't know. It's just not my. I've never been. I threw a whopper plopper one time, and I could throw a buzz bait. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like it just I didn't like. I've seen people smash them on them. You know what I mean? But for
Mhm.
me, I didn't like it. And Bill actually reached out and he sent me a picture of it. I mean, his glide's pretty nice, but the double brad, it reminds me of the Savage
The
Duck.
Savage Gear. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the Savage. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Yeah. And that's like what a lot of people had said when it come out, or when it came out, was like, Bill, we loved the last rat you had with your last company, but this kind of looks like that Savage Gear rat, or like those double plopper buzzbait style baits that River to Sea had started to make. And not,
Yeah,
maybe not necessarily gimmicky is the right word, but it's just kind of like, now you're kind of just falling in line with some of these other companies who have made this bait, and it could be a completely different bait. I mean, how, one little thing might change the actions of a bait, but just looking at it standing in a Dick's line, you're just like, well, this looks like this other bait right down the lane. Why would I buy this one over that one? You know, what happened to the original style? And Spro, I think, kind of re-released the rat. It's not the BBZ rat now. I think it's just the Spro rat. And
It's
I'm
just a
sure they,
Spro.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
probably had to change a couple little things here or there to kind of switch
The,
it a little
the
bit.
the tails are like a plastic ribbed worm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're out there, but the tail is actually like a plastic
Oh, it
like
is. It's like a worm now.
yeah, it's like a soft plastic worm, and then
Oh.
and it's not, it's the worst. It like melts, like it bends all up and everything like
Mhm.
that. I mean, it reminds me of the knockoffs of a BBC when I've had a couple that were from like Japan or something that people
Yeah.
sent me, and once that plastic bends one way, it just gets stuck crooked, and it's like not even worth having it on there.
Yeah. So they tried to keep like it. I mean, it kind of looks the same, but you can tell it's not that hard plastic with the thread through it.
No,
It's a rubber tail. Huh.
yeah.
I didn't even know that they had switched the tail. I knew they came back out with the bait, and I just assumed that maybe they changed it a little bit. I didn't know that they even changed the tail completely. That's kind
Well,
of crazy.
that was Bill's patent. The tail was his patent.
Oh,
So when he left Spro and he went to Fish Lab, he took his patent with him, and they ended up coming out with that bait, but then without the tail. I mean, that was his. He went with it, and that was it.
hmm. That's kind of crazy. He didn't put that tail in that plopper bait, did he?
No,
Okay. Huh.
no, no. I have one that he actually sent because he didn't. I mean, that's when I was like really like because when he sent me a fucking box like full of stuff one time, and I was just like, what? Why are you sending? He's like, yeah, I did a little. He's like, I usually don't do this. He's like, but I did a little write up on you on BBZ, and
So cool.
he's like, what's your address? And he sent me a bunch of stuff, and you know what I mean. And what I mean, I'm not gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna hoard it and save
Right.
it. So I just passed it on to friends and everything like that, and they just started fishing the shit out of it. And then he sent me one that was all white, the autographed with the year on it and everything.
That's
I'm like,
cool.
so I still got that one in the package that with the original name on it too. BBZ. We got a few hats and all that. That's not going to come back again. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
it's so much shit's evolving and getting different these days. It's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I remember I kind of I don't know. I remember when Spro had made the announcement, or maybe it was Bill that had made the announcement that they were no longer, working together or whatever it may be. And I remember like I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And then, fast forward like 4 months, that's when the Spro rats were there was guys selling them for $80 on eBay. And it's
Yep.
like, whoa, this 30, 35, $40 bait is no longer being made. It was a production bait at one point in time, and now guys are getting double, triple the amount of money on it. That's crazy to see out of a production bait. And I mean, that's just kind of a testament to what that bait was doing and how many guys and kind of how good of a bait it was in general. I mean, that was crazy to see.
Yeah, and they're not, and a lot of people didn't tell anybody. That's when you really found out, like,
Yeah,
wow, like
exactly.
people are fishing this damn thing. Like, oh, yeah. When I seen one on eBay, I think I seen one for like 95. I'm like, and then I had a bunch of them in the basement. Like, I was just started sending, like, they were asking about it. I send them to people, and they're like, you know how much those are? I'm like, man, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And how the prices go up, and people start chasing them. It's unreal. I couldn't understand it. Like you said, a $35-$40 bait, and then it goes for $100 on eBay, and
Yeah.
like what
And
the
and
heck?
like I can understand that with a resin bait, the builder may have stopped making that
Yeah,
bait or whatever. They may only be a
yeah, but
hundred
a
out there
production, right?
in circulation. Yeah, but I mean, you got to imagine how many of those Spro rats they sold, and then like you said, once they kind of became limited or no longer made, that's when people started coming out of the woodwork, and they're like, okay, I need to buy all these up just in case they never make them again, type thing. And that
Right.
was kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, but I was shocked. I mean, like I said, I don't follow all that. And then when a couple people approached me and were like, "Yeah, we know you fished with the Spro rats for a long time, and that's one of the main baits you started with." They're like, "Do you know how much?" I was like, "I know Bill had told me he was leaving the company months before he actually did," and I was
Yep.
like, "Oh shit." And when he told me he was taking the tail with him and all that, and I'm like, "Oh man, it's not going to be the same." And
Yep.
then after all these people started talking to me and like telling me, yeah, they don't even sell them no more, and or they stopped the production of them,
Yep.
and like you said, they came back out again, like $80 for dang rat that, like you said, is a production bait that's
Yeah.
made out on a. Yeah, that's what I mean. What I like to support local builders. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like people that are actually doing it, that are in it for. I mean, Tom Wren. I remember Tom Wren gave me it was somewhat of like a Pat's like look like,
Yep.
and I was casting that thing at Water Shops Pond, and this was after I got an MRI for my shoulder, and they told me that I needed a new rotator cuff,
Oof.
and I stopped, and I was like, yeah, I got to cast, and I ended
Yep.
up casting that thing out and pulled a 5 pound bass out of there, and so what I started doing within the last couple of years, I started going to all the local spots that I fished when I was a kid,
Mhm.
and hitting them at nighttime and everything. And last season was probably one of the best seasons I had as far as numbers. I mean, I broke 5 pounds 3 times in one night out of a local
Wow.
pond that's right in the city, like in the city. I mean, it's kind of good to know some law enforcement, because you can give them a heads up so they can come in and check on your truck, because
Yeah.
you never know who's in the parking lot.
Right.
It's,
Man.
it ain't it's not the best city, but I mean, you meet the right people. It's
Mhm.
I mean, the fishing community here is very, very small, very
Right.
small.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I guess when when you started fishing, or maybe even when like Bill had left and stuff, is that when you kind of pivoted more towards like your local guys, like, hey, I'm gonna buy some of your baits, I want to fish some of your stuff maybe a little bit more, or I want to fill that gap because these spros are really hard to get?
No, I had an abundance
Okay.
of the rat. What happened was when Joey reached out to me and said that he's coming out with a bait, and I was like, like I know him from the shows and stuff.
Mhm.
I've seen him around, and like I said, he's always been a humble kid. And I was like, dude, I'll give that thing a rip. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, send it to me, and I made sure though that that's the only bait I brought out with me at night. And Tristan Lee was one of the kids that I fished with, my older stepson's best friend. He's and I'd go out with him at night and slamming him on the thing. He's like, "What the hell? Like, are you serious? Like, you throwing that big ass fucking bait?"
Yeah.
Nobody was throwing them here, so it's like you throw them big ass baits around here. It's not only so many times a worm's gonna get bit or a
Mhm.
jig's gonna get bit. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you throw a big ass freaking topwater out there. Especially one night when I seen this. I was out fishing. I think I got a picture somewhere on my. It almost looked like a sugar glider kind of thing. It was swim. I'm on the pond, and all I seen from the moonlight, like we were talking about,
Mhm.
I seen a ripple going across the top of the water, and I paddled up to it, and I looked down at it, and it looked like a sugar, like a mini squirrel. I put my
Yeah. Yeah.
paddle up and crawled up onto my paddle, and I'm like, And that's when it really was like, okay, all I'm throwing is top water. I'm throwing
Yeah.
wakes, like, and boom, they just started slamming the shit out of them.
Yeah, I've got a spot up here. It's a big jetty, big rock jetty, and there's squirrels and moles and rats and stuff that are running all across on those rocks. And I remember casting out a rat out there one morning, and I had 5, 6, 7 fish following it, just following it far enough that they weren't going to eat it. But I just remember like, holy crap! And then that light switch goes off in your head, and it's like, I guarantee that there's at least a chipmunk that falls in here once every so often that a
Yes,
bass season, and they know what that is rippling up on the water. You just have to get it at the right time and have a long enough cast. These fish are going to commit to it. But I'm like, yeah, I bet you this is something that these fish, outside of seeing it with a real animal, they've never seen a bait presented like that.
right, exactly. Especially when you're hitting a shoreline coming out. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's another reason with the kayak too. Like you could even parallel to the shoreline or throwing it straight in. It looks like something fell in
Yeah.
the water and don't know
Mhm.
what the hell to do. Start
Yeah.
swimming, and that's that, man. I've had everything from snapping turtles to fucking to beavers chase the damn
Mhm.
rat. I mean, it's a. I mean, anything top water. I mean, Joey's baits. I've caught on his bait. I've caught 1 pound freaking bass. I've had ones that have hardly fit on the damn hooks. I'm like, the hell
Yeah.
is this thing thinking?
Yeah. Man, yeah, dude, that's so crazy. And it like I'd mentioned before, it's so crazy how predominant the wake baits are out there, and just how, there might be, we'll say there's a dozen guys, half a dozen guys who fish wake baits or Joey's baits or Sherpa or whatever, Tom's baits around your area. but you can go 2 nights after somebody else fished it, and you could catch three of the same fish
Yeah.
they caught on a wake bait, a different bait. Maybe it's a bluegill bait or whatever, and those fish just have no thought one way or another that they're not going to eat this thing. They just go up there and smash it no matter what.
So it's crazy because there's this fish that me and Tristan can't go to this pond, and we call her notchback because right behind the dorsal fin, you can tell there's some kind of like a little divot.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? So the first time I caught it was on Joey's bait. The second time I caught it was on the psycho trout. The third time I caught it was on the gill, and then the fourth time I caught it 4 times all
Oh
off
my
of Joey's
gosh.
bait, and that's within the last, I'd say, 6 years. And I mean, the weights kind of stayed the same on the fish because I think it has some kind of deformity because of
Right.
that little notch on its back. But I've put it up before. I'm like, it's like, is this? And people are like, yeah, there's no doubt that's the same fish.
Same
It's got the
fish.
same
Yeah.
notch, old notch back.
I mean, that's saying something that the same bait or same two baits trick that fish. And that's just your experience. Who knows
Yeah,
a guy who lives, 2 miles down the road who fishes the same spot. You guys don't meet up or don't know or don't talk to each other, don't post pictures that he's caught that fish 2 times in the last 3 years too. I mean,
right.
that's crazy. It's almost like it's almost starting to be common that these guys are starting to catch the same fish. I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Clipper out in British Columbia, Canada, but
Oh yeah,
he's caught the same fish like 3 or 4 times now in like the last 2.5 years. And it's like that's crazy. Victor and Matt, Victor from Fish Everything and Matt Streichel from
that
SB
yeah
Fishing, they've
yeah.
caught that 9 pounder out of that reservoir like 3 times in the last year. I mean, it's crazy how these fish don't necessarily pick up on the swim bait like they do a jig or a chatterbait or whatever else it may be.
Yeah, they just see that more. I mean, like they could be catching it during. I mean, I've caught it twice during the day and twice at night,
Hmm.
and it's weird because the 2 times during the day that I caught it, once was on the psycho gill, once was on the psycho trout, and at night once on the psycho trout, one on the psycho gill.
Yeah.
The last time I caught it was like towards the end of the pandemic, a few years back,
Hmm. Have
and
you
I think I
noticed? Have you noticed that fish like not eating it as aggressive, or it just smash that bait every single time?
oh they smack every time. It just
That's
a
so
fucking
crazy. They just have
yeah.
no scare of it whatsoever. They don't even
No,
care.
no, there's not. I mean, going to you can. I mean, I'm every time it's like I know. Sometimes I know it's hurt because it almost bombs out the damn water. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's like
yeah.
not even a slurp. It's like not no vacuum effect
They
like
come up and
usually.
boom, hit it up.
Yeah, they just freaking then you see it out the water and it's like what the hell? Like, and I've seen. I mean, I've been with people throwing. A friend of mine, Jay, he's throwing the same bait. He's throwing a psycho gill. I'm throwing a psycho gill, and he was throwing it in the same spot as I was, and I'll go back, and that next thing you know, boom, it hit mine. And what the hell are you doing different? It's retrieve. I mean, you got to find the cadence.
Yeah. Do you uh
Sometimes,
do you have a
go.
particular cadence that you like to fish with your baits?
My thing is usually to throw it out there. If I'm in a pond, lake, whatever, I let it sit for a second, ripples go away. I like to slow roll it.
Okay.
I mean I haven't had success off of cranking. I mean a lot of people do like subsurface cranking it and whatever, but it's usually slow rolling it or slow rolling it and giving it like a dead twitch once in a
Yeah.
while.
Yep.
You know, I mean like two one time and then three the other,
Hmm.
and then that's usually on the pauses. That's when it's hit.
Yeah. What I like to do with that little throwback Woody, just that little small three piece,
Yeah,
I would bomb it out there and I would just chop the reel and it would just sit there do and just kind of
yeah,
walk in place. And
right.
man, I mean I have it on video. These fish would be 5, 6 feet away and you can see them waking to the bait like it's Jaws, dun dun. And I mean
Dude, they got
that's the craziest thing ever that those fish just see that thing squirming on the water. They're like, yep, I'm eating that. Not even a thought in their mind that they're going to go up and smash that thing.
no, it's unreal. It's like I don't. I mean, I've also caught fish with other fish. I mean, bass down their damn throat. It's
Yeah.
like they're hungry as hell. I mean, I don't know if it's a reaction strike or it's like I gotta have it. I don't. It's the craziest thing. Like, I mean, I'll go to local places like and like well, I mean, I can't necessarily say I started with Joey right after Spro. I fished a lot of obvious Mike Buka.
Yep. Yeah.
I've fished a hell of a lot of. I've caught. I mean, my TikToks. I mean, I've caught 6 7 pounders on his top 4x4,
The four by
the
four. Yep.
knocker. Yeah, the knocker. I mean, I've caught some freaking monsters on his baits, but like I said, he started some becoming bigger company. You know what I mean? And it's like I started, and Joey came out with his. I was like, let me try that out,
Yeah.
and just started. I mean, he's right. He's only about an hour and a half from me. And
Okay.
I go over there and hang out once in a while. And
Yeah. So being friends with Joey, I'm sure you're aware of his obsession with the crawler baits, with the big
yeah,
crawler wing baits. Has that rubbed off on you at all, or is that something you've ever messed with, or you just like the wake bait style, the I guess, quote unquote, the old fashioned style wake bait?
and this part, I mean, I don't have. I mean, I've tried the little. Only fish that I ever caught on a crawler was like the not mini, but the pompadour,
Oh
and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
small. It was smaller, and I caught a couple on that, but I just no, I don't. Until I actually see somebody, I think, do it, or I catch one myself and
Mhm.
get confidence in it. I mean, it's just weird to me. Like it's
Yeah.
just like seeing that the commotion on the water and
Mhm.
all that. It's like wham wham wham.
Yep.
But I mean, I've seen cast the catches with
Yep.
them. You know what I mean? I think Chris DeMarsco, whatever his name was, is put his wings on one of the psycho trouts, and he's
Yeah.
been using
Yeah.
one of them. It's I mean, it does make sense as far as like a bird in the water, or
Mhm.
like something like that. But I mean, Joey said, "You're like, dude, you got to come out." It's funny you mentioned that because I was just talking about it the other day. He's like, "Dude, you got to come out." The KRR. He's
Yo,
upset.
dude, he loves that thing.
He's like, "Dude, you got to come out. You got to start throwing the crawler." He's like, "But don't throw it too much. I need you to still throw my bait." I'm like, dude, what is then? Why are you telling me about it? You get me into another fucking
Yeah.
thing.
Man, that like you said, I've seen so many cast catches on the crawler. It's a super cool bait. And like I have confidence fishing like the K9 or other 10, 12-inch glide baits, but for what I've caught a couple fish on the crawler, but for whatever reason, it's just a bait that I just can't wrap my mind around. Like it's so loud and obnoxious. Like it takes a serious fish that doesn't give a shit about the noise and it just wants to
Right.
eat something to come up and eat that. And it's like it's almost like it's so loud and sporadic it scares me away from the fish. Like it's like I
I
don't I
was
don't
just gonna say
yeah,
that.
it's like I'm more content with just something just slowly slithering on top of the water rather than bloop 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 being super loud. I mean,
Right, because
and
you
that's
can
a
keep
bait
your.
you could fish at night and you could bomb, 80 yards out there and you can hear that thing the whole way and it just gets louder as it gets close to you. I mean, it's such a loud bait. It's crazy.
It's like a fucking propeller on top.
Yeah.
I can't fathom in my. I mean, I can see when guys the casting catches where people throw them right to the edge,
Hmm.
and they'll twitch it a couple
Yeah.
times, and then bang, it gets smashed. That makes sense of like a bird like
Hmm.
getting its wing, taking a bath or whatever. But and then you see guys that toss them out in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the lake, and just cranking them, bang. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the? But like you said, like I'm not, when I see that, like what the hell? I'm reeling this thing. I'm like, no, it's slosh, 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 slosh. I'm like, what the
Like a kid
fuck?
splashing in the water or something.
Right?
And
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know if I get a hit on this thing. What the hell do I do?
yeah, and that's like the other thing is they're all really like mechanical baits, and that's like if you have a big one explode on it, I mean, you could end up having to work on the bait, like trying to bend the wings, and you didn't even catch a damn fish on it. That's the other thing that kind of like in my opinion, it's like it's a really cool bait, but it almost takes away from your fishing. Like if you have to kind of tweak it, and you haven't even caught a fish on
Tune.
it, you've had three fish blow up on it, they've bent the wings, and you're like, son of a bitch, like I just want to cast, but I got to get this thing to swim right. And there's guys who can do it with their eyes closed because they've been fishing. I'm sure Joey can mess around with the KIR and get
Yeah,
it to
oh
swim
yeah.
right. But like for a guy like you and I who hasn't really fished them, and we have a fish blow up on it, and the wings all bent to shit, and it's not swimming right, and it's like I'm cutting this thing off. I'm gonna tie on a psycho trout or a psycho gill or a spro or whatever it may be that I can just bomb out there, unhook a fish, and I don't even have to worry about dicking with it.
That's the exactly when I the whole tuning part of it too is like if you do catch that big enough fish, the way that the wings bend out this
Yeah.
way, like the mouth hitting, like I mean, like I ain't trying to fuck around and sit there and trying to go, okay, you got to cast out 30 times before you get the thing to swim right, and you could have been fucking catching fish.
Especially like you in the dark in a kayak, like you
Yeah,
I just want to be able to cast after I catch a fish. I don't want to have to dig
right.
around, turn my light on 20 times to be able to bend it that quarter of an inch to get it to swim right now. I'll just fish a regular wake bait at that point.
No, yeah, it's just too much. Like it's preference. Like I
Yeah.
said, Joey loves it, and I explained it to him. Like it's preference. It's like, I mean, I've had Shy say it a couple times from Bass Bandits. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
you got to start throwing the crawl. I'm like, man, I'm
I
like,
don't though.
I know, I don't. I mean, I have a couple of them, but it's like I don't even want to. I guess Aaron Lewis there from Stained, he loves them too,
Mm,
and but I just can't. I don't like. It's funny you brought it. Just hearing it come in, it's like chains on top of the water. I don't
yeah.
know. It's just
Goosh,
clank,
goosh,
clank, clank,
goosh.
clank, clank. Yeah, like somebody doing the fucking backstroke.
It sounded like somebody's oaring their tin boat back in. But I think if you went out with a guy like Joey or Shy and they
Yeah,
kind of showed you like, oh, if it's swimming like this, you need to tweak it a little bit and kind of if we were able to get like a crash course on it, I think
yeah,
we'd have a little bit more confidence and still the what to do after we catch a fish. I'll throw something until I catch a fish, but it's more like that aftercare of the crawler that's kind of like I wanna commit my time to it, but at what point in time am I gonna be messing with the bait more than making casts to try to catch a fish? And like
right,
like we said,
right.
there's guys like those two who can tune that bait and sling it back out there, but until we catch a dozen or so fish on it, it's going to take us a little while to get used to it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Joey can do that shit with his eyes closed with that. I mean, that kid's he's a very, very smart damn kid, man. When talking fishing with, like, he knows his shit. He definitely does. I mean, and he feels like shit when he makes a bait that ain't swimming right and fucking he's harder on himself than anybody
Yeah.
else. But I mean, he's doing it by himself or just with James. I mean, his brother-in-law. That it's only him doing it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a big company. I mean,
Right. Yeah. If
uh,
you had a preference, like if you were going out and fishing tonight and you could only take one rod and one bait, do you like the Psycho Gill or the Psycho Trout? Which one's your kind of preferred bait?
mine's a psycho trout.
Psycho Trout. Okay. Is that the two
Yeah,
piece or the three piece?
the two piece. I
Two
actually
piece.
got when I got the state record, I got it tattooed with a bass eating it on my leg.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
I told Joey, I was like, dude, if I get the state pin, I was like, I'm gonna get it tattooed on my leg. He's like, no, you really? I'm like, yeah. So I mean, as far as I mean, this ain't for clout or anything, but he told me it's kind of humbling that I've caught so far the biggest bass on a psycho trout,
Hmm.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, man. That's
But
so
I
crazy.
couldn't get it in I caught it on a prototype. It didn't even have the swivels on the hooks,
Oh yeah.
and it was all white. And I'm like, dude, I can't get a white tattoo, so I ended up getting a brown trout color tattooed on my leg.
Dude, his brown trout ones look sick.
That's why I got it done. I'm like, yeah, I got to get that color.
Yeah,
And
those.
Robert Kane is actually the one that did it, and
Okay.
he's a fisherman
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
So
Man, that's awesome. I mean, did that fish, we'll talk about the PB, that 9.3. Did that fish just like blow up on it and crush it, kind of stereotypical to what you think a big fish would do to a wake bait, or was it just kind of a subtle, just pulled it down and swam away with it?
I'm telling you, I thought it was weeds at first. Like
Really?
that's one. Yeah, I was cranking it. Like I had cast it out sideways, and I'm just cranking it away. I'm watching like I said, watching my neighbor go
Yeah.
back in, and I'm cranking. And I'm like, oh shit, and then it started pulling me. And I mean, when you're in a kayak, it just
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, and I'm like, Matt, fish on, and he's like, really? And it jumped out of the water one time, and I'm like, oh shit, kept that fucking pole tip down in the water, and just I mean, I'd even have my net. I ended up lipping it on my
Oh.
kayak, and I was the most craziest night. And like I said, the video I have of it was with my neighbor that took it. And you can see in the video him sweating like so bad, him being nervous. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? More so than me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's just so awesome. But yeah, it was the most subtle. Like I threw no. I mean, I was watching the bait and everything. Like I'm watching it go across the water, clack, 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 and it was just like, whoop, like what the fuck? And I
Yeah.
pulled it, and I felt a little pull back. I'm like, oh shit, it's on there.
Yeah.
Holy!
Man,
And
that's
I never measured fish before that. That was the first season I ever measured
okay.
fish.
Yeah.
I always went by weight, but like I said, even after tournament fishing, weight didn't mean anything to me because I was just fishing for myself. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And then when Will Peller and Mike Taylor, they're locals around here,
Yep.
told me about the pin program, I was like, I'll try it, and then I caught that one. And first year that I measured, I got the gold pin, but it wasn't what it always cracked up to be, because then you get a lot of fucking haters. The mouth wasn't closed on the board,
Yeah.
this and that, this and that. Okay, they accepted it through the program. I'm
Right.
sure if
It's
there
good
was an
enough for
issue,
me.
right? Like, get the hell out of here.
That's always like guys will like when they have those the working class zero boards that don't have the bump stop on them, guys will piss and moan, "Oh, that's not a catch board, it doesn't count." Dude, it's good enough for me. That fish, say it was 23 and a half, maybe it was only 20 and or 23 and a quarter if its mouth was or wasn't
Right.
closed all the way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I do not
It,
care one way or
that
another.
that's exactly what I used. It wasn't a bump board. It was
Yeah,
just a roll out board, and I had it on there. I mean, the lip stuck out like Bubba Gump, so it was like
right.
I really didn't matter if that mouth was open or closed.
Yeah.
And the wildlife fishery fucking took it in.
Hmm.
The guy that bitched and moaned about it the most is like he had like an inch. I think it was an inch under me.
Mm.
He's like, "Oh, that should have been mine. You should have." But they accepted the picture. It was my first year doing it. I'm
Yeah.
like, now it's like not even like I got my son doing it now. You know what I mean? I'll do it for him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Didn't care about it before. Ain't no reason to do it now.
Yeah, maybe if it was the world record or state record or
Right.
whatever, maybe it would have been more inconsiderate. But if it's just for the pin series, I mean, they're like, oh yeah, this fish trumps this guy's who's is only an inch under yours. Maybe it's only a half inch, but this fish is obviously bigger. We're gonna give it to him. Sorry, I caught a bigger
Yeah.
fish than you.
It's unbelievable. Well, my PB is actually out of Chicopee State Park, which is a very, very heavily pressured fishing place. And we were uh, brought a couple of friends and we were fishing for trout. And I, me knowing about bass, like, and I knew there was a bed where it was. I seen like a swirl, and
Mhm.
males obviously protect beds.
Yeah.
So I seen the swirl go away, and I took my trout rod and I had a Rebel Pop R. I have it tattooed on my forearm, and I cast it out there and popped it 3 times, and the boom, it hit, and it pulled drag like I couldn't believe, and it just pulling me, and there was guys standing on the bank, and I'm fighting, and now this is only 6 pound test because we were fishing for trout.
Yeah, yeah.
Get
On
down
a
around
little
it.
on a little pop bar, two little treble hooks.
Yeah, little Rebel Pop Art. That's the biggest bait I had in there, or the only bass bait I had in like my trout box. I don't even know why it was in there. I get it to the point, and I freaking bring it in, and there was a Spanish guy there, and he's like, "That's a big fish," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You got to skip that one was 25 inches, 19-inch girth, 10.4.
Holy crap! On
I
six
got a rep.
pound line.
Yeah, I got a replica amount of it on my son's wall. And the thing about it was crazy pulling it on six
Yeah.
pound test, but after trying to take pictures, measurements, and all that, and then going to let it go, I had people like trying to jump me. Like, why
Right.
don't you keep that fish? Why don't I'm like the eggs are coming out because you're already stressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like let it. Oh, just squeeze the eggs out. No, that's not how it
That's
works,
not.
man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I literally had to leave where I was fishing because they were just kept going, da 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 da, and they
You're just like,
followed
I'm
me
done
all
with
the way
this.
out. Yeah, I caught what I needed. They were a couple kids immediately like thought they were gonna catch it right afterwards, and was just sitting like,
Man, that's
but
wild.
yeah. And then I mean that's just like I said, it's just been something that's always like I with trout. Like trout, it started with the Vibrix Fox freaking spinner things, and Then when my uncle showed me the Red Devil, it just went from there, man. It's just I've always loved fishing and like challenging myself more than other people. You know what I mean? I can give a shit. Only thing that's important to me what I go home to at night. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like I don't give a shit about the chatter and the gossip and all that. I mean, I love fishing. I love swim baits. Actually, Mike Mello, he had reached out to me over the weekend, and he's like, I'm having a tournament Sunday on Congamon. You're my guy if you can fish. I said, Mike, it's been so many years since I've thrown conventional gear.
Yeah.
I was like, give me some recommendations on lures, and I guess he found another partner. But I mean, like, if my son's, if his spinning reel gets wrapped up once, I'll cast it out just to
Mhm.
fix it, or whatever. And it feels weird just reeling
Yeah.
that in.
Yeah.
I can't imagine all day. I mean, me and Joey, when we went to New York going for walleyes, we were on the back of a boat and there were spinning reels, and we were using like jerk or tiger muskie,
Yeah.
using jerk baits the whole freaking time. Like, what the hell is this? Like, my arms are all. So we decided to go off and do our own thing. And it was me, Tristan, and oh shit, forgot his name. He's gonna be pissed. But me, Joey, Tristan, and this other guy, we went below the spillway and we were using swim baits, and we all caught a freaking tiger muskie. And
Doing
this
your own
wasn't even
thing.
on, yeah, not even on the charter. Like the guy didn't put us on nothing, but caught a couple smallmouth and perch. Like, what
Mhm.
the hell?
Yeah.
I could have stayed in Mass with that one.
Man, yeah, and that's like same here. I have a spinning rod. I just put line on it for my girlfriend because she was having a hard time with the bait caster off the paddleboard. So I'm like, I'll get you a spinning rod, or I'll put line on my spinning rod. You can fish a Senko or whatever. And then when you get used to it, get used to fishing off the board, we'll go back to the bait caster. And I was putting line on
Yeah.
that before this, and I was like, this feels weird. I mean, I went to St. Clair twice this year, and I was using a bait caster the whole time. I was using a big jig rod to pull around tubes, and they were like, "You sure you don't want a spinning rod?" I said, "Nope, I'm okay. I'll fish this bait caster. I can
Yeah.
cast just as far as you guys, and I'll rip those fish off bottom and I'll drag them in. I don't need a spinning rod. I can do it with this rod right here."
Exactly. I'll stick to my DC and be all right. Like, I don't.
So
Yeah. Go
speaking of rod and reels, what's your go-to setup for like the psycho trout? If you were going out fishing tonight, what are you taking out there?
Dobbins 806 and Corrado 300 is
Is
what I
it
use with
the green Corrado or the new K?
the new K.
Okay, okay. And you said
And
you
it's
fish 30-pound Power Pro?
yeah, 30-pound Power Pros, the highest I've gone.
Okay.
I mean, I've had a lot of stuff. I've tried thicker line, but I don't seems to get them more fucked up and like knotted up and stuck together than lighter line.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I'm in my kayak and I'm casting, like if I mean, there's no, it's already pulling you around.
Oh,
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
When you set the hook, you need that stiff line to be able to put the hooks in there, not you just turn around in a circle in the kayak.
Right, right. So if you have 65, I mean, the 30-pound braid, you still have that, you know, I mean, enough to play with. I mean,
Mhm.
usually I tighten my drag all the way up and just, I mean, let it pull it in natural. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I remember being out one night and it was me, Tristan, and one of his friends from work, and
Mhm.
we were sitting all we were sitting in the middle and we're all linked together, and I'm throwing a bull shad, and we're out there, you know, doing our thing, whatever. And all of a sudden, boom, I get a hit, and Tristan pushes me off, and I'm like, Tristan, you have the fucking net, and he's trying to keep up with me, and I'm in my little Pelican at the time, and it's pulling me all over the damn pond. And then I finally get it up to the kayak, and I seen, and the head was up towards the front of the
Oh,
kayak.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, a 6-inch bait. There was a 6-inch bull shad. It looked like a tic tac on the fucking thing's lip.
Oh my
I
God.
went to go swing the head around so I could lip it
Yep.
because he wasn't there yet, because it was just on there, and it popped off. And my reaction was to reach down for it.
Hmm.
And I went to reach down for it. I was like, I got it under my arm, and next thing you know, I seen water and went
Swam
in.
off.
Had to spent about an hour finding my freaking baits. My one of my rods friend of mine that fishes the same place. He's seen a bait floating and picked up the bait. My rod was on the end of that, and
Oh,
a couple
dude.
all over the shore. This is at like 3 in the morning.
Man, that's shitty. Oh
It's
man.
it's fun though, man. I was like, it's just that I love. I don't know. I've always been the type of I can't do the as crazy as stuff that I did when I was younger because I got it's only 18. I couldn't have kids. I got my son. I'll be 44 next week. So
Hmm.
and he's 8 years old. Now it's all about him. He's
Yep.
all about the fishing game.
Heck
He's
yeah, dude.
one getting into swim baits and everything. He's slowly starting to get into it, getting confidence in him. I mean, he loves it.
That's so
He got
awesome, man.
yeah.
So
He's been
awesome.
throwing the mini psycho.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, yeah. He's got one of them. And he said he's going to catch his personal best this year on it. So
It's so sick, dude. That mini looks really, really cool. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna
yeah,
be a lot of guys and a lot of younger kids who just hammer fish on it. And like we talked about earlier, that's gonna be the stepping stone to go from the mini
to
Psycho
bigger bait.
Gill
Yep,
to the full size Psycho Gill to next year he's gonna be taking your Psycho Trouts to go out and fish. You're gonna be like, what the hell am I supposed to go fish now?
exactly, exactly. Well, that's what when I started talking to Joey about it, I'm like, Joey, you come out with a smaller bait, like it'll people won't be too much more intimidated by
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then once they see that that's catching fish, they're gonna be like, oh shit, like let me try the bigger one. Maybe I'll do better with
Mhm.
that. And I mean, they say bigger bait, bigger fish. It's not necessarily true. I mean, it does most of the time. You get some
Right.
big fish, but like I said, I've caught some tiny ass fish on big ass bait, thinking
Yeah.
it's weeds, and you pull it in, and you feel something flopping around. Like, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah. That was like I was fishing that Gantrel and I was catching a bunch of fish, and then for whatever reason I had ordered that Gantrel Junior. And I mean, the fish I caught on that thing, like I had to cut it off and give it to one of my friends because I'm like, this thing is like simply catching too many fish. Like I don't think
Yeah,
the big fish can look at it long enough that these little fish aren't coming up and eating it beforehand. Like I need to go back to fishing the standard size. And I mean,
yeah,
there's baits like that are just absolute key baits to get people into it, to get your wife or girlfriend or kids or whoever into the swim bait scene. And then they just start building confidence and they want that, standard size Psycho Gill and they fish that for 6 months and catch 25, 30 fish on it. And they're like, oh man, like I'm never fishing that small one again, Dad. Post that one for sale because I want another full size one to go out and
right,
fish. And it's just so
right.
cool to see. I mean, it's an awesome building block for sure.
I mean, I never even knew that when, like you said before, going back to the rat, like I never knew there was a size 40
Oh yeah.
because when I got mine, I got the 50, and then I find out there's 20, there's a 10. I'm like,
Mhm.
what the hell is all that? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't know about them before,
Right. Yeah.
but now, I mean, I'll get that's most people I tell them start off with a 40, you know
Mhm.
what I mean, and throw that out there, you know what I mean. You'll see, you know what I mean. It'll happen. And there's also another one out there at Jackal Mikey's.
Oh yeah.
That's a good I mean, producing bait,
Hmm.
but they're not that easy to get. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
it's a hard bait to get, but I've that's another bait that I've given to people just to try it out, and then they move up to the senior, and then eventually they'll go to a psycho trout,
Mhm.
which is not much bigger than the senior.
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
man.
man.
I love teaching a lot of
Yeah.
teaching people about what I know. You know, what I mean, what I do. That's what it's all about, man. And just wish there was more people to do the same.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I was gonna say is wrapping this up a little bit. If you guys have any questions about the rat, the BBZ rat, or the Psycho Gill, or the Psycho Trout, I mean, we just had a hour and 10 minute conversation with the guy. You guys need to hit up with any questions. Maybe don't blow them up with questions. But if you guys have a question here too about how should I fish this area with this bait or whatever, maybe hit up Josh. And by the sounds of it, I mean you're gonna be able to point them in the right direction or give them maybe a tidbit of information that might kind of help them elevate their bite a little bit.
Absolutely, man. I'm willing to show anybody anything I know, and I mean, like I said, just as much of an adrenaline rush for me as somebody to send me a picture like,
Yeah.
"Thanks for that bait, man. I appreciate it. Look what I caught." You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or thanks for thanks for telling me how to reel it in the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that's all it's about, man.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, Josh, I appreciate it, man. Is there any what's your Instagram or Facebook or whatever pages you want to shout out?
My Instagram is Grimlock. Wait, shit. What's my Grimlock Fishing 413? Oh, Grimlock 58 413. Hang on one
Either
second, man.
either way, I'll put it in the
Yeah, it's
description,
on
and I'll
there.
tag
Some
you on Instagram tomorrow so people can follow you if they're not.
Yeah, my TikTok's 413 Mass Bass,
Okay.
and yeah, Grimlock Fishing 413.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Like off the top of my
Yeah,
head, I remember that's 413 sounds right. If
well,
not,
that's my area code.
oh, perfect. If not, I'll put the right
Right,
one in the show notes, and
right on.
I'll tag you in it tomorrow. But yeah, guys, like I said, if you guys have any questions about the Spro rat or any of the psycho trout, psycho gill stuff, hit up Josh. I'm sure, like he said, he'd be more than happy to kind of give you guys a tip here or there. And if you guys go out and catch a 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 pounder, show drop. Maybe not a 10 pounder because he has the biggest fish on the psycho trout. Maybe don't ruin that for him just yet. But unless
I'd
unless
love
he
it.
gives you a tip, maybe that'll make him feel good.
I'd love it, man. I'd love to see. I mean, when it comes to like I said, Joey being how he is. See, if somebody slams a 10 pounder on me, I'm just as happy as if I caught it.
That's so awesome, man. But Josh, as always, I appreciate you for coming on, man. It was a good time. I mean, I think people who've just gotten into swimbait fishing, they can listen to this and they can learn a thing or two. I mean, we kind of laid out the history, your history, especially the Spro BBZ, and kind of how that's all changed over the last couple of years, and just kind of your whole topwater experience in Massachusetts, and kind of just you talked about your whole come up with it and kind of what you've done throughout the years, and kind of how you break down the water when you go out on the water. And I think that's nothing but helpful for people who are, like we said, just getting into it, or maybe unsure on where to start with night fishing or that whole process in itself.
Yeah, more than happy to tell anybody anything I know. I mean, I'm sure they can tell me a thing or two. So
Yeah.
that's
Heck
what
yeah,
it's all
man.
about.
Heck yeah, man. Well, as always, I'll put all of Josh's stuff in the description so you guys can go follow him if you're not already. And as always, make sure you guys are following the podcast, Scales and Tails _media on Instagram. Make sure you guys rate the podcast on your listening platform if you don't already. And keep your eye out because the next magazine will be getting ordered and coming out here soon. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I appreciate you guys listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. See you guys.